Hi, and welcome to the webinar on prospecting tools. We're just going to give it a minute or two to get any of those stragglers in, and then we're going to go ahead and start. I just want to make sure that you guys can hear me, so if you could post in the chat that you can hear the sound of my voice, we'll go ahead and get started in just a few minutes. All right, so welcome to the webinar on prospecting tools in Psych to Do Business. I am Alexis Rank, and I'm the lead training and support coordinator for Psych to Do Business. If you have any questions during this webinar, feel free to post in the chat or in that Q&A section. I'd be more than happy to answer them throughout this webinar, and if there's any that I don't get to, I'll make sure to stay on the line after we conclude for today, just to make sure those questions are addressed. If you do have any questions after the webinar, or if you review the recording and you have questions, you can actually contact us at support@stdb.com. You can also find that contact information in our Learning Center. Our Learning Center is a site that we host that contains additional other webinars that we've hosted, How Do I videos, which are about 3 to 5 minute videos on Psych to Do Business, and then additional resources for like methodology statements if you have questions on how does Esri get some of their data, or what is the flood map telling us. And then last but not least, we have the Contact Us section, which has our support email, which is at support@stdb.com. Or you can always email me directly at arank@ccim.com. All right. So I don't have any questions on the Learning Center or how to contact us. So let's go ahead and get started. So today we're going to cover different tools you can learn and use in Business Analyst to enhance your prospect. Excuse me. Woof, it's still early in the morning. To enhance what you can do and how you can search for different businesses and sort of expand your portfolio. So we're gonna not jump into Business Analyst right away. I know that's usually the go-to for a lot of these webinars. We're gonna actually start in Database USA. What Database USA is, it allows you to search for businesses across the US. It is confined to just the US, but you're able to filter for different businesses. You're able to search by NAICS code, SIC code, to find and create your own business list. So it's just going to be on our tool page. It's that third button. We're going to hit open. And you can see that we kind of go to this initial home screen. What I like to do is just ignore this quick search and go straight to the advanced search. This is going to be where your meat and potatoes are. This is how you're going to be able to search by, city, state. There is also some other neat options. It can do the same thing as Business Analyst, and you can do radius around a zip code. There's also this button for a map-based search. So if you don't quite know your area, or say you have a parcel, or just a piece of land that doesn't quite have an address associated with it, this will allow you to actually zoom into areas. And like we can do in Business Analyst, we can actually just draw a shape to search that area for businesses. Or if we say wanted to search between specific highway boundaries, this is also a nifty tool for that. So that way we don't have to have a defined geographic location for it. So you can see I'm just using the dots to move it along to create that shape that I want. And then I can always update count, and you can see the current count of businesses. And if I hit close, that doesn't go away, that stays. And then I can continue to use the filters to more specify what kind of businesses I'm looking for. But for right now, we actually have a city that we want to take a look in to find businesses in it. We're going to take a look at a city in Connecticut. So we can select the city button. We're going to use this drop down and go to Connecticut. And we're going to look at Hartford. And we can just select it from this drop down list. Right now, I can just hit update count and I can find the amount of businesses in that area. But I want to actually specify this further down. I want to go to major industry group and I want to actually take a look at manufacturing. I can just click this right here, or I can even expand it if I wanted to have a specific type of manufacturing. Right now, just looking for general manufacturing. If I had a specific NAICS code, I could use that as well. This also allows you to search. So I can search through the NAICS codes that are available in Database USA, but I can also pull it from other sites as well. Another question we do get a lot is this employee size. If I select this employee size, you can see I can select the number of employees, but this is for both locations. So if there was a corporate location and a retail store location, it would count it for both. In this advanced option, I can actually specify if I'm only looking for corporate employees or location employees. And then I'll just have to set the actual size that I'm interested in. So I can set it from 0 to 500. And then if I select update count, you can see that it'll filter out all businesses that don't match this criteria. But for right now, we're not interested in employee size, so I can just go ahead and exit out of that. We're actually looking for the annual revenue. So we're looking for manufacturing businesses that make over $5 million of revenue. So I can select this annual revenue button, and then I could just use the filters right here to select everything greater than 5 million. Again, if I select update count, I can see that it's updated my account and I can see how many businesses match its criteria. For more information about the businesses, I can hit search and I can pull up more information. This first page is sort of like the quick details page about it. So I can see the name of it, general address, if it has a phone number associated with it, the general revenue, along with any sort of names associated with it. If I click on the title, I can pull up more information so I can get a better overview, see if there's any job postings that they have, sort of their profile, check out some competitors in the area. I can also see if there's any more email addresses associated with the executive directory and sort of any department those people work in. All right, so I can actually take this list of businesses that I've found and actually download it and then map it in just a few easy steps. So to download it, I just go to the top where it says download. and it will prompt me to name my download. You can pretty much name it whatever you'd like. It also asks for a file name. I would suggest naming the file name as well, something that you can easily remember. Otherwise, when it downloads, it'll just give you a long string of numbers. And if you're downloading multiple files, that can be a little bit harder to keep track of. So if we just went here, name our download. Currently, I have a tagged record. That means it'll only download the box I checkmarked. But for right now, I want to download all the records. What Database USA does is it sends you an email with this information. So I can choose a format. I'm going to keep it for Excel for right now. And then I can choose my level of detail. Results view, that's going to be all that information we saw on that first page, just sort of a little bit of information. And then details view is going to be all that information on that second page. So it's going to include email addresses, area competitors, that sort of thing. And then we also have the option for custom view. This is great if you only need the address, mailing, need very specific information. Instead of having to download all of it, you can just download a portion of it. For right now, I'm going to select Details View, and I'm going to hit Continue. So I actually downloaded this before. I'm going to show you how Details View look. I downloaded before as a CSV in Results View, but let me go ahead and pull that up so you can kind of see what information you get on both of them. So this is the one you download for Details View, and you can kind of see that there's that information we saw on the first page. You'll have business name, any legal name associated with it. And then I just got the email. You can see it takes just a minute or two for that to download. And I can select it and hit here. And it will download, and I'm able to open it up. And this is the details view. And you can see for this, there's a lot more to it. It'll have all that information on the second page. All right, so now that we have our information, we can map this. To map it, I'm going to actually show you another tool that we have available. We're going to take a look at Arcgis Online. So if I select that, most of the time when you open it first, it's going to actually give you this view. Since I was working in it a little bit earlier today, it opened straight to the map. You'll get this home view in which you'll see Site to Do Business, and then you'll have this sort of gallery of different options that you can quickly click on. These are just different maps that you have available. One of the interesting ones is this US job growth. And this one is just created from the Bureau of Labor Statistics to just show different jobs and sort of how they're trending in the United States. It is a fairly large map, so it does just take a minute or two to fully populate. But once it does, you'll see that the United States is lit up with different dots to represent different areas. You can filter through this as well and sort of find out the information you need. So if I wanted to go to manufacturing, I could select that. I'm going to give this a second or two to load. While that is loading, I'm just going to go ahead and switch over to Maps. And I'm going to show you how to add data into Arcgis Online. So we're going to start with a fresh map. So you can add this data into Arcgis Online, or you can add it into Business Analyst. Usually the difference I tell people is if you have a few businesses, you can definitely use Business Analyst to upload it. If you have a large number of businesses, like especially if they're over 500 businesses, Arcgis Online is a little bit better. It's more used to housing those large data sets. So, and the nice thing about Arcgis Online is we can actually just quickly add information. So you can see that I have my downloads folder and I have this .csv, the one that just had the results view on it. I can actually just click it and then drag it onto the page to download it into this. If you have your field already named addresses, so if it's named city, state, it'll usually automatically upload. You could just hit add layer. If you do have a custom name at the top, you may have to go and manually associate each of them with the city, the zip code. Anyways, so you can see that it's just automatically mapped it here. I can first choose an attribute to show. So I want the business name to be what I see first, so that way I can identify each business. I have this option to choose different styling. So I can switch between location single symbol if I just wanted to see each dot, or I have this type's unique symbol, and so I can have each of them be separate. If I select options, this is where I can go through and I can set different colors, different shapes, to really take a look at all the different businesses that are available. And I can go ahead and play with the symbols and layers and labels until I'm satisfied. Once I'm done, I can just hit OK and then hit done again. And then you can see that I have this layer. And if I click on any of these businesses, I can actually pull up the information that I've already uploaded using that Excel file. So information that I have associated with that address is going to be uploaded. Since I had a column for employees, that's included. So you can really customize this data. The nice thing about this as well is we can actually share this. So if I hit this button at the top that says share, of course you always have to save it before you can share it. And hit save. Add any tags. A description, and then hit Save Map. Then if I hit the Share button, you can see I have a couple different options. I can either send it to members of a specific group, so if I create a group in Arcgis Online or Business Analyst, I could just share it directly there. I can share it out to the whole Site to Business database, so anyone who has a Site to Business account would be able to see it, or I can share it publicly. Publicly means that anyone who has an account anyone can see it. They don't even need an account. So I can hit public, which will automatically check Site to Business as well. And you can see I can get this link. So if I go ahead and hit copy link and done, I can open up a private window and go. And you can see that I can view this map just like I was able to view it in my Arcgis Online account. So I can click on it, I can zoom to it, and you can see I'm not even signed in. So it's a great resource if you wanted to send some information to a client or someone else in your business who doesn't have a Site to Business license and you don't want to have them come over to your desk. You can even take this and embed it to a website if you wanted to show off different locations that you have available. All right, so don't seem to have any questions on Database USA or Arcgis Online. So let's go ahead and take a look at other tools we have available. So it looks like this is still taking a second to our load, so I'll just put it over there. I'm going to exit out. So we're going to take a look at Business Analyst. Throughout this webinar, you've heard me saying Database USA and things you can also do in Business Analyst. So we're going to take a look at Business Analyst's ability to map businesses in an area. So instead of grabbing it from Database USA and pulling it in, what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the Map section. If this is your first time accessing Business Analyst, it may prompt you to create a project first, or if you haven't been in a while, it'll ask you to open up a project. You need at least one project to work in Business Analyst. Projects are where all your information is stored. So if I create a report or if I create a map, it's going to save to that project so I can pull it back later. I also get a couple questions on what if I close my Business Analyst or close my web browser and I want to reopen that item that I was just working on. There's a new feature called the autosave feature. This will save whatever you're last working on to the screen. So if you close out of your web browser and open it back up, it'll automatically pull up that site or that map you were working on. Or if you go to your project title, like this one is just called Webinar, click this. You can actually see all the information that is located in your project. So that means I can go to previous point locations I looked up, and I can actually select and zoom to that location. So that way I don't have to keep researching that location over and over again. All right, so say we're interested in looking at apartments in this area. What we can actually do is we can do a business map search. So if we create maps and hit business and facility search, we can actually quickly look for businesses within our current map set. I can be as vague as just typing in apartments and hit go. And then you can see that the screen will populate with particular businesses that match my criteria. You can also see that some of these dots are outside my 3-mile radius. And I'm not quite interested in those because I only really want what's inside this area. So I can hit this down where it says by site. Instead of selecting none, I want to select my site. And you can see all these dots populated. I can go through the business names and I can select any apartments that I may not want to include. I can also use other filters to sort of narrow down my list. Once I'm satisfied, I can hit next. And you can see that I have this location, single symbol. Like we did in Arcgis Online, I can switch this up. So I can change the style. If I was interested in having unique symbols and seeing them all different, I can have that. But I can also create a heat map if I just wanted to show the density and show like where all these apartment complexes are located, because say I was going to open up a coffee shop that I know is, sorry, a coffee shop, and I know people who live in apartments are more likely to shop at that coffee shop. So I want to show that there's a high density of apartments in that area. This is a great way to do it. But we can switch back to single symbol. The one other thing about single symbols is you can see that there's these sort of circles with numbers on them. Those points are clustered. That just basically means there's so many points so close together that the site just automatically puts them as one dot and puts a number of them to show how many there are. If I click on it, I can see the list of each of them and I can choose to zoom to each of these locations, but I can also choose to turn this off and I can see just each dot individually. Once I'm satisfied, I can hit next. I can save this layer. And so if I wanted to pull this up later, it's saved to my project That means wherever I'm at, as long as I have a connection to the internet, I can pull up this layer. All right. So there's also some other nifty things you can do with this business analyst, business and facility search. So I'm going to close out of this. I'm going to clear my map. I'm going to clear it of this apartments. So I have this sort of fresh map where I can just see my study area. I'm going to hit create. I can either hit create maps and hit business and facility search again, but since I was already working in business and facility search, it just automatically appeared there. So I can use this categories to search for general businesses, but I'm actually interested in specific businesses. So if I was interested in CVS's and Walgreens in this area, I can type it out. If I'm looking for multiple businesses, I can just use the semicolon to separate each one. I can hit go. And again, it has some dots outside my area that I don't want. So I can just select that. And you can see that it only has dots within my area. I can hit next. And it doesn't quite make sense for me to have location single symbol because I want to show where each type of location is. So I'm going to use the drop down and I'm going to select types unique symbols. And you can see that each dot is represented by a different color. I'm going to turn off clustering of points so I can just see each dot individually. Now, if I wanted to say spice things up and actually change up those symbols, I can select more options. And the dot right here, represented by Walgreens or CVS, I can click that dot and I can change to different symbols that are available. I can even import my own custom symbol. So I can look through my custom symbols and it looks like I already have one for Walgreens. So I could just add that there. But say I wanted to add a custom symbol for this CVS pharmacy. I can look through the ones I've already downloaded, and if I don't have it, I can actually import a custom symbol. A quick way to just do this is if I go to the top and I go to google.com, I can search CVS logo, select images, and just sort of find the best one that I would want to include. So say if I wanted this one, just right click it and save image. I have a folder where I just keep all my logos, so I always have them as a reference. Save it there, and then go to Business Analyst, select that dot to change it, and then select Import Custom Symbol. Then I go to my logos folder, find it, hit open, and then you can see that now each CVS has its own logo. It's a little bit smaller, so I can just use the size button to make it a little bit bigger so I can see it. And I could do the same thing for this if I wanted it to match the same size. And then once I'm satisfied with everything, I can hit next, and I can save this layer. The question I get a lot is why use business and facility search over database USA or vice versa. So the only thing is information in business analyst is limited in the business data. So you can't necessarily always get that full address or that contact information. So if you're looking for additional contact information or more about the revenue or area competitors or key executives, I'd suggest using Database USA. If you're looking for a way to map quickly and easily, Business Analyst is the way to go, just because you can easily customize it and change it to show that information. But like we did in Arcgis Online, we can add that data in. So if I clear my map, just go ahead and clear everything. What I can do is I can hit add data. I can import a file, hit browse. Unfortunately, I can't drag like I did before. Go to downloads, click that download, hit that, hit import. I want these to be point locations, hit next. And then since, you know how I was talking about before, if I don't have it named address, city, state, it's going to ask me to actually manually put in and associate which column goes with which is not a big deal. It just, oh, not physical state again. Zip, hit next, and they'll just map it for you. And it'll just take you directly to that step 3 in business and facility search, where I can select heat map, change things up. All right. Looks like I don't have any questions on business and facility search. Again, if you have any questions throughout this, feel free, raise your hand, post in the QA section, type in the chat. Be more than happy to answer any questions. All right, we're going to take another way of sort of taking a look at areas. We're going to pull and take a look at some zip codes. Now, I can either use this define areas and select geography and go through, but I can also just use select geography, and instead of doing that, I can actually select from map and hit zip code. And you can see that this map has sort of changed with the layers. You can see it automatically adds that boundaries and labels. And I can actually go through and select different zip codes I'm interested in. So if I was interested in just sort of this area right here, and I'm trying to find an area that would best fit my needs, I can easily click on them, see my selection here. Under here where it says combine selected geographies into one site, we don't want to do that. We want to take a look at them as 3 separate sites. So I'm going to click no, hit next. You can see now that on this map I have 3 sites that I can take a look at the labels, create reports on, and do comparisons. We're going to actually take a look at infographics. Infographics are like your reports. They're going to show different demographic information. However, they're just going to present it in a slightly different way, a little bit more interactive, a lot more image-based. One of the suggestions is to view what infographics we have available. We can select this report section, and we can hit Run Infographics. You can use this little PDF symbol next to infographics to pull up an individual infographic and see what it looks like. You can also use this Build Infographics and select Build Infographics to pull up templates and sort of open them up and see what's available. The nice thing about this is there's this Add Template button in which you can browse from gallery and add additional infographics into your system. So these are ones that have been created by Esri that have variations on ones that are available. You can see like the community profile in different colors, or just additional information that is not included in your standard array of infographics. And all I have to do is, once I find one that I like, hit add, and I'll add to my template section. And I can use this to run on any site that I'm interested in. So besides also gathering information from outside, or from that add template, we can actually take a look at shared templates. These are templates that are shared with you either directly by a user, or people who have created it and decided to share with the Site2Business user database. I can go through this and I can search for each one, but say, There's actually one that I'm specifically interested that I think would help me out with my analysis. So I can actually use this magnifying glass and I can start to type it in. It is called the Tapestry multi-area comparison. Since I've already added it, there's not that add button. It'll just have that save as button. So I can just go ahead and save it down to my templates. And so when I go to run an infographic, I will have this available as a way to look at my sites. And okay, go to maps. I can also hit reports, and then I want to go back to run reports, run infographics. I want to not include that site. And instead of going to standard infographics, I'm going to go to my infographics. And I am going to select the one that I'm interested in. And you can see that it will include all three. I want to hit export all. And I can open the report. This is just a report as a PDF. What I can also do is if I hit maps and hit infographics, I can pull it up in a more dynamic way. So it'll automatically open up to your default infographic. If this is your first time opening up, it's going to prompt you to do that. I can use this drop down here to look through my infographics to find ones that I'm interested in. I can hit this add sites to add additional sites. I can use this drop down to add each new area into this. I can see right now it looks a little busy, so I can always use different reports. So say I like that it's all in one all-in-one infographic, but I can also use one of the newer features. So I can pull up the standard Tapestry profile. Go to the top where it has this drop down, and we're going to add that last site that we have on our map. And we can actually use a side-by-side comparison of this infographic. So if I use this drop-down, you can see I have all three sites uploaded and select side-by-side comparison. This will also allow me to view this information right next to each other. So I can use it to compare different locations, to see differences in demographics, location sizes, any sort of information. Currently, we're taking a look at the Tapestry life modes. Tapestry information is sort of that psychometric data that analyzes how people live and what they spend their money on, their sort of social economic positioning. And if you ever wanted to learn more, the nice thing about this is all infographics have this ability to be interactive. So you can see if I click on this, it'll expand. And I can find out more information that's associated with that data. I can click on links to pop up more information. So if I wanted to know more about how this information is determined, I can use that link. And the nice thing about this is you can actually download this. So if I hit this export infographic, Instead of exporting it as a PDF, which is static, or an image that is static, I can download it as a dynamic HTML. Dynamic HTML is going to be a file. Oh, yes. That you can send to anyone. Yep, that means they do not have to be a member of Psych2Do Business. So again, if you wanted to send it to a client, someone else in your office, feel free, go ahead. A friend, you just want to show off the cool things you can do with Psych2Do Business. And so what happens is it downloads a file link. You can see it has that little Chrome browser. And if I click open on it, it's going to download this information. And you're going to actually see this infographic in the browser like you would as if you're logged into Psych2Do Business. I can click on it, hover over it, find all this information, select this drop down, select each site that I had uploaded into it. I can even select side-by-side comparison. So I can have that without having to be logged into Psych2Do Business or having to be a member of Psych2Do Business as well. You won't be able to add additional information to it. It's only the information when you chose to download it. Another neat feature you can do with infographics now is you can set things to be a benchmark. So if I wanted this to be my benchmark, it'll move it and give this little benchmark to show how sites compare. So every other site that's not a benchmark, you can see has a little arrow next to it to show whether it has a surplus or whether it has a gap. Speaking of surplus and gaps, since I don't see any questions on infographics, we're going to take a look at void analysis. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this infographic because we don't need it anymore. We're going to clear our map. On the right side, you can see the little circle with the X. Click it, and we can select everything and hit clear. I'm going to select I'm done, just so we're completely fresh. So if I have two locations, I'm going to pull up my geographies. And I wanted to take a look at, we're going to hit define areas, and we're going to hit select geography. And we're going to do the same thing we did. We're going to select from maps, and we're going to take a look at two different cities in this area. So I can click on the map to find out which ones that I'm interested in. Again, make sure it hits no, and then hit next. And once I have my two sites, I can go up to the top where it says Run Analysis and select Void Analysis. So I just got a question about mapping two individual land parcels that are next to each other. What I would suggest doing, we'll just pause void analysis for 1 second. I'm gonna go ahead and clear my map. What I can do is if I want and I know where these parcels of land are, I can use this draw polygon tool. And it's going to be similar to that Polygon tool we saw in Database USA. I'll be able to click on the map and draw that custom shape to map that out. And then I can have that as a study area. All right, I'm going to go ahead and clear my map one more time. All right, and then again, I'm gonna pull up that information again. For these geographies, I'm actually going to pull up these two right here in Idaho so we can take a look at them. I'm going to exit out of this. So to run a void analysis, we're going to hit run analysis and we're going to hit void. So what void analysis is going to do is it's going to take a look at businesses within an area and compare it to another site to see whether there's sort of a gap or there's a surplus based on the information. We're going to hit get started. So the first step is to select analysis area. That is the area that we want to take a look at. So say we want to see if there's any opportunity for business in this Napa City area. So I'm going to hit select area. We can select currently on map, highlight it, hit apply. Then we can select our reference area. That is sort of our benchmark area. So I'm going to hit select reference area. I can again select currently on map, select this and hit apply. And you can see that it'll automatically change the shades so I know which area is which. And I'm going to hit next. And you can see this is going to be very similar to how it is in business and facility search. I can enter a custom business name. So if I was interested in all the Pizza Hut, Domino's, because I was interested in like seeing like what kinds of pizza places are in the area and whether there's a need. I could also use a general category. So if I was just interested in food and restaurants, I can hit that. And you can see it'll highlight there. So I'll look for all businesses that fall under the category food and restaurant. I'm going to hit run analysis. And you can see that it maps to this location. You can see all the businesses. Currently right now there says there's a gap because it's a negative number of 525 businesses with the area. And if we hit view table, we can see each individual business, the difference between the two. Now, big question I get is, yes, we can take a look at two different areas, but that doesn't mean that they're necessarily similar. Well, to account for this, we can normalize our results. So right now the results aren't normalized. What we want to take a look at is normalizing it by population, because that one, our first area, our Boise, Idaho area has a lot larger population. So I'm going to hit just that. And you can actually see, they have sort of just like a general one you can do by household, by population, by household, area, square miles. You can actually normalize for all variables, any variable that's available. For now, we're just going to stick with population. And you can see the original. You can see this normalized result. And then you can see our reference area. So you can actually see that there is still this gap because in this area, there's expected to be 322 bars and restaurant or food and restaurants per person or per the total population. And right now there's only 234. I can go through and I can scroll through and see which ones exist. I can even use this filter button to show specific information. So if I was interested in a specific attribute, I can also click this to show only voids, so I can only see what types of businesses are missing. So with this, I can also use it to change the map color. Any sort of size, color. If I wanted to add custom symbols, I could do that here as well. I can export this information, and I'll export either as an Excel document or a PDF. All right, I don't see any questions on void analysis. Again, just as a reminder, you're going to use this Run Analysis tab and select Void Analysis to pull up the Start menu for this. I'm going to clear my map, and we're going to take a look at another quick tool in how to search an area for specific information. So I'm going to use my, you know what, instead of using this and pulling up an area I've already searched, what I can do is I can use this quick search dropdown, and I don't have a specific location that I'm interested in, but I have a specific area. So if I wanted to just zoom into I can click that and zoom into the area and just take a look. Now, if I wanted to sort of find areas that I may be interested in within my general area, I can use this Create Maps feature, and I'm going to take a look at color-coded maps. So say I was interested in opening up finding an area for a senior center. So I'm looking for areas that have a high population of people over a certain age. I can use this browse all variables, and I can select age. I can either view age as a 5-year increment. So say I was looking for 2020, and I could do 5 years of, people over the age of 85. But what I can also do is I can create my own custom variable. So I'm going to hit Create Custom Variable, and it will take me to this tab. I can easily choose a year. So I say I wanted to be a little bit more predictive. Development's not going to be until 5 years out. So I'm going to look for a projected 5-year plan of people over the age of 70. I can select my age range. If you saw I just dragged this. If you're having some trouble with it, you can always delete the number and hit 70, and then just make sure you hit Enter on your keyboard to lock it in place. The next option we have is to choose gender. I can choose between whatever genders are available. I can also just include everything. I'm going to hit Save and Add. I'm going to say Save. I can name that variable whatever I want. And you can see I've sort of created a heat map of this area. I can use the key on the left to sort of view each one. I'm currently looking by block group. If I wanted to change that to a slightly larger area, I can use this drop down to select zip code. And I can take a look at it by zip code. I can even zoom out. This is a dynamic map. So if I move where I'm at or change my location, it'll add this overlay to whatever I select. Then if I wanted to quickly search and say I was interested in all areas that are over 4,000, I can just actually toggle things off and on. So currently I'm setting, so I can reset, reset, reset. I just want the big ones. I could just click this to highlight it. So I can see which areas match my criteria. I can also change the style. Currently we're on counts and amounts. I'll go ahead and just reset this. But I can switch it up So if I thought this be more represented by dot density, sort of give me that different feel and look, take a look at that. I can switch it to colors and sizes. I can even just change up my colors scheme. So if I wanted to stay in a particular color scheme for my company, a lot of blues, I can even switch it up. And if I wanted to add my own color scheme, I can go here, and if I select any of these, I can actually pick my own colors. I'm gonna go ahead and switch it back just because my color choices were not the prettiest right there. We can also take a look, instead of taking a look at the legend, the style, we can take a look at the data and sort of have this table to show me what exactly each number is associated, or the population associated with each zip code. I'm also can just hover over with my mouse to pull up that information. I can even go over here, and if I wanted to view it more as a sort of like a bar graph, I could take a look at that, especially if I'm more of a visual learner, and then taking a look at numbers. Sort of just different ways to look at the variable based on how you like to view your data. The one other nice feature about color-coded maps is we can actually add 2 variables to it. So if I was also interested in taking a look at household income, and I wanted to add the median household income, and we want to take a look at that 2025, you can see that now each area has this sort of dot over it, and you can see that one variable is represented by a color and the other represented by the size of dot. So I'm looking for a dark colored area with a large circle. And I can take a look at each and hover my mouse over to sort of see which area falls into that category. And I can also go to style, change up the style so I can have a different look. There's a dot density with color-coded map, which I think is an interesting way of showing it. So I can see the population variable is showed by the number of dots, and then the household income is shown by the color. All right. So these are different ways you can enhance how you use Site2Do Business to prospect and search for different areas, search for businesses, and sort of gain a feel of different demographic information in your study areas and your markets. I see we don't have any questions right now about any of the tools we went over. So just to recap, we covered Database USA and how to use it to find businesses. We touched upon Arcgis Online and how to add and then share that information to other users and other members outside the Site2Do Business organization. We took a look at Business Analyst and took a look at the business and facility search and sort of different ways we could use that. We took a look at void analysis and infographics, and then we just ended by taking a look at color-coded maps. And again, if you have any questions after this webinar, or if you're playing around with Site2Do Business and just wanted some more information, you can go to our Learning Center. The How Do I videos I highly recommend, which are just 3 to 5 minute videos on different aspects of Site2Do Business, or you can always reach out to us at contact us and then support@stdb.com. We're just at the top of the hour, so I'm gonna let you all go. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you for joining me for this webinar.